So, this is the study guide support video. I'm going to do the first question with you because we did it today in class, but then the rest we're just going to start. It says, which estimate is closest to the actual value of 4.99673? So I think this is about 5, and then 2.83, and this is about 3. So 5 times 3 is 15, so I know that this can't be the answer and this can't be the answer. So it's going to be this one or this one. So if I look at it, this is less than 5, and this is less than 3. So my answer has to be less than 15, so it's going to be this one. For part of the recipe, Han adds 36 hundredths milliliters of vanilla to 14 and 5/10 milliliters of milk. How many milliliters does the mixture contain? So I know I'm going to be putting it together, so I'm going to put the larger add end on top, and then the smaller one underneath, and I'm going to remember to line up my decimal points. I'm going to add a 0 here, and then I'm going to add. Select all the expressions that are greater than 6. So the first one, I've got 4.68 and 2.4. I've got 2.97 and 3.004. I've got 5.017 minus 0.03. 7.5 minus 1.47, and finally 7.503 minus 1.42. And so you have to figure out which of these would all be greater than 6. So more than 6. All right, and then the next one says 4 swimmers are training for long races. Noah swam 7 and 235 thousandths of a mile. Andre swam 5 and 300ths of a mile. Jada swam 9 and 2/10ths of a mile. And Diego swam 10 miles. What was the total distance of all the swimmers? So I'm going to add this up. Oops. And I remember that when there is no decimal point, it goes right there. So I add those all up. And you can add in zeros if you want to hold the places open. The next one, Jada swam how much farther than Noah? So that means that we're comparing them. So Noah swam 7 and 235 hundredths of a meter. Jada swam 9 and 2/10 meters, so I'm going to subtract Jada's distance minus Noah's distance. And since I'm subtracting, I need to remember to add my zeros. Then I'm going to borrow and go ahead and subtract. One way to compute a 15% tip for a bill is to multiply it by 0.15. The restaurant bill was $55.60. How much was the tip? So I'm just going to be multiplying $55.60 times 0.15. Remember, when you multiply, you don't even have to worry about anything. You just go ahead and do the work. All right, so I like a box. I'm going to take my numbers out. So I've got 5, 5, 6, 0. And I've got 10 and 5. And then just go ahead and multiply and then add it all up. All right, the back. Find the product of, so I'm going to think about these numbers. I'm going to have 72 times 51. Take the zeros out. Take the decimal points out. And I'm going to set it up. 72 times 51. Do the math, and then I'm going to put my decimal point back in. There are 2 decimal places on that factor and 3 decimal places on that factor, which gives me a total of 5 places. So once I get my answer, I got to move over 5 places. Right, next one says find the difference. We're going to subtract. Remember, I've got to put in all those zeros. I didn't even put in enough. And go ahead and borrow. So I'm going to change this to a 1999991 and go ahead and subtract. 2 students have different ways to calculate 3/10 times 35 thousandths as a decimal. Show in detail how each person did it. So Elena does 35 times 3, and then she moves her decimal point. Diego says 3/10 is the same as 3/10, so I found 3/10 of this, so he does, and then divides by 10, so show that work. Which estimate is closest to the actual value? So this is like the first question, so I'm going to change pens so I can see a little better. So this is about 16, but it's less. And this is about 5, but it's less. So 16 times 5, that's 80, but my answer needs to be less than 80. So it's not going to be 80. It's not going to be this one, so we got to figure out which of these two it's going to be. So this is pretty far less. I'm thinking it's going to be C, but I'm not sure. Select the two expressions that are greater than 7. So we're going to do 8.3 minus 1.19, and then 7.018 minus 0.04, and then 7.702 minus 1.65, 5.87 plus 1.2, and last one, 6.498 plus 0.008. And we're looking for the ones that are greater than 7. All right, thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Make sure you do the work.